Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is a horror movie review and I'll be having a look at the movie Dark Touch. This is a kind of a strange sort of psychological supernatural horror film. Now it's kind of very reminiscent of Carrie, if you're familiar with that film, which I'm sure many of you are. So the story tends to be a young girl called Neve who is being abused by her parents, we imagine, for a very long time. She's kind of got a baby brother who's also sort of being abused. One night she just can't take it anymore, so she runs out the house to her sort of neighbour's house, and they don't kind of realise what's actually going on, so they just sort of ring her parents and ultimately they come and collect her and take her back, and the sort of cycle continues. However, in this time, Neve's sort of developing some kind of supernatural sort of telekinesis type powers ultimately, and this sort of ends up causing the deaths of her parents and ultimately her sort of baby brother as well. So she's the neighbours actually sort of volunteer to sort of take her in and kind of until they kind of child services ultimately they can kind of find a permanent home for her. But Neve's obviously very, very damaged by the kind of years of abuse that's happened and really kind of starts to sort of have a very sort of distrust for sort of adults who try and kind of almost show her genuine kindness, and she ends up trying to sort of seek out other children that are being abused, and her powers are kind of growing and she's sort of becoming more unstable as the sort of film goes on. I kind of won't go into too much further detail than that in the plot because it kind of, that's really the whole point of the plot ultimately. So this is a kind of a strange movie. It's obviously a relatively low budget film. Now on the plus points here, I think the acting is very good, especially for the young girl who plays Neve. I think, you know, she does quite a haunting performance. The music's very effective here, and it's kind of shot quite well as well. So a couple of problems I had with this movie, however. I think maybe it was trying to be a little bit too arty for its own good. There's a couple of shots where it just seemed to be done for kind of artistic value, and it just, I don't know, it just, I didn't think it particularly served the story all that well. There's just, you'll know what I mean if you've seen this movie. It's quite a confused film in what is actually sort of, what actually happens ultimately. It was fairly difficult to follow in regards to Neve's motivations and kind of what she can actually do in regards to her powers. Now maybe that's the point. Maybe the point is that obviously the kind of an abused child is kind of going to be a complete mess. But when you're watching this as a film, sometimes you're thinking, I don't really know why she's doing this or what's going on and what actually her powers is. Because at first it kind of looks like she has sort of telekinesis, which is just moving stuff. And then it kind of looks like she has kind of mind control at the end as well. And kind of can make kind of people freeze and do what she wants and all sorts of things. So, but it's not really clear about what's actually happening. And I have to say that the climax of this film, I found quite sort of unsatisfying, I have to be honest. I didn't really understand what it is she was trying to accomplish. Now, like I said, that could be the whole point of it, but when you watch it as a film, it comes across as unsatisfying. And ultimately, it's a relatively slow-moving film, so you can really just expect 2 hours of kind of kids crying, adults running around saying Neve, and objects moving and seem to causing far too much damage, and they seem to be possibly like drawers simply just sploshing into people like they were made of butter. Like I said, I mean, it may be the whole point that she has no kind of rhyme or reason because she's so damaged, and I'm guessing part of me thinks that's where the film is going. It's just showing that she has no control ultimately because she's so damaged and stuff. But on the other hand, it's just it just doesn't serve a particularly good entertainment value for a movie because it doesn't really make sense in certain degrees. So. You know, I can appreciate what the film is kind of trying to do to a lot, you know, to a certain extent, and it kind of, I get it's well made. The performances are all quite good. I had some issues with the script as well. I mean, the kid is obviously being abused, and yet no one seems to see it. And we actually have a kind of a child counsellor at school, and she actually sort of makes the point of, oh, she's showing all the signs of abuse, but I mean, she's covered in bruises and stuff, but no one thinks, hang on a second, these bruises are older. You know, she's kind of flinching when anyone sort of touches her, and fairly obvious if you ask me, but no one kind of seems to see it and kind of think, well, that's the issue that's going on here. And it seems pretty much 90% of the adults in this film hit their kids with the looks of it. So I don't know. I had a few issues of it, so I'm going to give this one 6 out of 10. Let me know what your thoughts are. Leave me a comment. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.